You know, the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series is really weird now that I think about it. When it comes to all of the different side series in the Mario franchise, I feel like none are as all over the place as Mario vs. Donkey Kong. From gameplay styles to naming conventions and hell, even how the games became accessible to players. People often used to accuse Kirby of being the science experiment where Nintendo can try out a bunch of different ideas with very little risk. But in reality, you could almost say the same thing for these games too, especially in the later years. Only rivaled by like Mario Party on the e-reader, I guess? Now were these experiments successful? No? But it is still a surprisingly varied series, and that's enough to get me interested in this weird mini Mario-filled rabbit hole. These are also the games where Pauline finally got to shine. She didn't just suddenly reappear in Odyssey as the new Donk City mayor and that's it. She played a very pivotal role in this toy-based free market duel. And what better rivalry to base this weird series on than that of Mario and Donkey Kong, the original Nintendo 1v1. While both franchises would continue to grow and evolve as the years would go on, sometimes Donkey Kong outshining Mario in his own game, let's be honest here, these are the games where they both get to come back, be the stars once again, and remind us what brought them to the dance in the first place. And then toys got involved and the plot became something like a weird meta commentary on consumerism. This is a weird series. Okay, so what if we completely turn this on its head? Our journey begins with Donkey Kong on the Game Boy, commonly called DK94, because it released in 1994. And now we have a specific comparison to Sonic 06. I know we're missing the Mario and versus in the title, but hey look, there's Mario, he's versusing Donkey Kong, this counts. On the surface, like many other games on the Game Boy, this does just come off as a remake of the original arcade game, just with some extra moves. What, did you think Mario learned how to somersault in 64? No. This adventure took place a few years earlier, and there it is. It is really fun going through these classic stages in a new way, but once you think it's over, oh, it just begins. Pulling off just a fantastic bait and switch, DK94 is actually a full-blown puzzle platformer. Each stage has a key, and you gotta figure out the best way to get to it and bring it to the locked door while avoiding an army of new enemies and getting it done in a time limit. Oh, and you got some classic bad guys here too, man. You got Bow Bow, Trash Can. There's a constant barrage of new mechanics as well. Each new idea is introduced with a little cutscene at the start of the worlds, and no gimmick ever overstays its welcome. You can pick up and throw things, Mario 2 style. There's wires all over the place that you can swing from. There are these little switches floating in the air that when you touch them, you can summon a trampoline or a flat surface. There is so much. There's even a bunch of boss encounters that manage to fit in perfectly, all being these little modifications to the original arcade idea of simply getting to Pauline. You do that, you win. And hey, even Donkey Kong Jr. is here. It is so easy to forget about this guy. Every appearance he has ever made after his own game was always so random, and then we just moved on as if it never happened, and then the poor guy lost his life trying to sell us on the Game Boy Advance e-reader. Bless his soul. DK94 is only about a 3-hour-long adventure, but it manages to do basically everything right. Even the music is really good, dude. The showdown at the tower theme did not need to go as hard as it does, but damn. Dude, damn, it is so good. It is simply put a great platformer on the Game Boy, an excellent example of an unexpected yet surprisingly faithful sequel, probably my favorite game on the entire console, honestly, and it is also a great showcase for the Super Game Boy. The use of colors is fantastic, the border is one of the best the peripheral has to offer, and there's even some voice samples. Money well spent. But now let's take this great foundation that we just created and make it all about consumerism. Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Game Boy Advance. Okay, so like 5 seconds into just turning the game on, we're treated to DK lounging on a couch, watching TV, flipping through channels with a single buttoned remote, I don't know how that works, and he experiences hardcore FOMO, or fear of missing out, when a commercial for a new mini Mario toy drops and the speaker implants subliminal messages into his psyche.
Hurry, buy one, buy them all, buy them all, buy them all, buy them all.
Man, Donkey Kong is such an idiot. I'm glad I'm not stupid enough to fall for those types of marketing schemes. I am way too smart for that. Okay, but the real question is, how much do these mini Marios cost? Oh, you see, now that's too much. This is when DK realizes how to get them at a discount. You steal them instead.
What are you doing? What's going on here? Oh, yeah, mamma mia.
Oh yeah, Mario's definitely a New York City Italian. What ensues is another world-spanning adventure, this time to rescue all of these stolen toys and bring DK to justice. And yeah, this is really just essentially more of the same, if I'm being honest. It looks a lot more impressive this time around, almost going for a Donkey Kong Country route by using the sprites that simulate 3D graphics and on the actual console itself, not blown up. It does look really good, but otherwise, I mean, the movesets are basically the same, a lot of similar puzzles show up. It's just that now, rather than just carrying a key to a door, stages also have a second act where you have to make your way to the toy. This then culminates with a final stage of the world where you have to safely guide all of the toys to their toy box. And the mini Marios all yell if they're too far away from you. Getting big Baby Mario crying vibes from this, and I don't think that's a good thing. And then of course you go and kick DK's butt. It's almost the same exact thing as the last time, except Pauline's not here, and that's a big shame. But by playing it relatively safe, yeah, this is another fun time. There's a ton of levels to play through as well. Not only is there replay value in getting a star in the levels, there's also a whole slew of harder levels once you beat the final boss, utilizing a new Mini Mario with key mechanic. There's a lineup of expert levels on top of all that, and in the Japanese version, there's even stages unlocked with e-reader cards. Wait, there were Mario vs. DK e-reader cards? However, playing both DK94 and this back-to-back, I think the original game is so much better. The level designs in that game are a lot more compact, and you get offered a bunch of new ideas and gimmicks at a faster rate. All of the boss fights in Mario vs. Donkey Kong revolve around simply wailing damage on DK, where at least in DK94 you had those, but you also had the puzzle-focused encounters as well to offset them. Every single level gives you a tutorial video now, even if it's for a mechanic that you've already dealt with, and considering that replaces the original's cutscenes that introduced new worlds in a lot more charming way, yeah, I don't like these. It's all very nitpicky stuff. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is still good, but DK94 is definitely better in my opinion. Also, no DK Jr. I don't appreciate the disrespect. Both of these games are still great, and it is awesome to know that there are plenty of sequels out there that are surely going to be taking that formula and expanding it with a whole bunch of new possibilities thanks to newer hardware, and you know that is not at all what happened, and I just lied to you. Alright, so this is where things get just a bit bonkers. Here we have Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, March of the Minis. I guess the Mini Mario toys were popular enough in the last game to just go overboard with them. The story is basically the same. New toys are dropping, DK has absolutely no concept of consumerism and supply and demand, except now, rather than steal toys, he steals the returning Pauline instead. Returning, by the way, with the design we now know her from in Odyssey. And Mario, I don't know, I guess he just didn't feel like it that day to help out, so he decides to utilize the toys and the toys alone to save the day. Friggin' lazy. And what we have now is a gameplay style more akin to Lemmings than an actual platformer. Once activated, the Mini Mario toys move on their own, and it is up to you to place all the pieces in a correct way thanks to the fancy new DS touchscreen to get them all to the goal. There's a bunch of varied level themes, new gimmicks to accompany them, pretty snazzy special plus mode levels that introduce extra minis to consider, a slew of unlockable hard levels. All of this content is exactly what you need to have a great puzzle game on your hands. It does go completely against the idea of the original games that started this series being an evolution of the original arcade game, but in its own bubble, yeah, it's fine. Each of the worlds has a little mini game to play, all of the boss battles are very much touchscreen focused, there's even a full-blown level creator, and being able to share your puzzles around on message boards at the time and whatnot was really cool. Well, I assume at least. Clearly I lack all creative talent. It's all just fine. Scoping out the new landscape and figuring out all of the proper timings and pathways needed in order to get a gold rating on the level can be really satisfying. Clearly, because they went ahead and made the same game like 5 more times. Though this is the only installment where you have a lot more direct control, to be fair. Being able to get the minis to stop on command, changing direction being a very common mechanic, and replacing the building blocks with expandable girders later on, the later games go for a more simplistic route, and personally, I do think that makes for a better game. In comparison, March of the Minis does occasionally feel like more brute forcing the toys to the goal rather than genuinely solving any puzzles. But that is pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. It's still fine. But since the following games are so similar, is there any reason to go back to this one, to go back to March of the Minis? No? The 2-screen cutscenes are kinda cool though. A few years later, exclusive to the DSiWare service, we got Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis March Again. It's the same game. Like, okay, the level designs are new, the minis have a few more frames of animation now, so that's kinda nice. And like I just implied, you can no longer mess with the toys' direct movements after setting them off, which is better in my opinion, but I mean, they really couldn't be bothered giving this a whole new coat of paint. Even the story is exactly the same, except now it's presented as an animated slideshow. Ooh. Put these two games side by side, you cannot tell the difference. You see, the joke's on you, they're both March of the Minis. Wait, what's this? Guest mode? Oh yeah, you know, for when you have guests over and they want a little sampling of this game but no more. It's a common occurrence, I'm surprised more games don't have that. In actuality, it is just the main game, but lacking the ability to save your progress. So, finally a modern take on the no save mode from Sonic 3, I guess. Who played this? Did you play this? You probably didn't play this. DSiWare was such a weird service, man. I for one am astounded that the same service that brought us Mario Clock and Calculator didn't bring us a banger of a Mario puzzle game right here. I am furious. The true smart move is to save all the hits for a real sequel. Here we go, Mini Land Mayhem. New toy drops, Donkey Kong can't get it, steals Pauline in protest. Okay, we get it. So I do want to kind of immediately knock on this game because it is more of the same, but honestly, I actually did really like this one. It all comes down to the refined level design on top of the more refined control scheme of focusing solely on the environment around the minis while they all just move along reacting to your changes. It plays more like Minis March Again, but with level designs that match it a whole lot better. Stages also have an extra collectible coin to focus on. You very quickly have to start managing multiple mini types at once, needing to guide them to their own respective door instead of everyone piling up into a single one. And also, the music for the first world is a remix of the main theme from Super Mario Bros. 2. Oh my god. It is very, very rare, but every time Nintendo remembers that game's existence, it just fills me with joy. Going into detail about this game makes it really, really hard to sell it any more than it just being a really polished puzzle game, and probably the best the formula has seen yet. It's no DK94, but this I still like. The minigames are, once again, pretty neat. There are still a ton of levels to play through. The construction mode returns that we still can no longer utilize. That is still very upsetting. The cutscenes, like last time, aren't great, but for a late era DS game that I'm pretty sure nobody played and I am not sure why Nintendo made it in the first place, yeah, it's pretty good. Now when the 3DS came around with a much more compelling digital store, this may be finally the time to do something a bit different and something really cool. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis on the Move. Wait a second. Mario and Donkey Kong. I think that's character development. Oh my god, they did it. They actually did something new. I didn't expect that. Let's talk about it. All right, so you ever play Pipe Dream? Or the hacking game in BioShock? You know, just some game where you gotta put down a series of pipes in the correct way to typically get liquid to its destination successfully? Yeah, that's all this is. Okay, I never said it was original. I think we can officially toss out originality with this series going forward. It all comes down to if it's actually quality or not. And yeah, you know, especially with this new polished art style and this funky beat that plays when you complete a level. This is indeed a great puzzle game for the system. Each of the 4 minis here also have their own puzzle type. Mini Mario works with a set of tiles given to you over time. Peach gives you a canvas with a specific amount of specific tiles. Toad is all about working with multiple toys at once. And DK is big. I'm not smart enough for this one. During the heyday of the 3DS's eShop, I adored these pick up and play puzzle games. I played a bunch of them, and this is easily one of the best ones out there. And of course, the level builder is here as well, and currently the 3DS's online service is still alive, so hey, there's actually some value here. You can download levels finally. We are still the furthest away from the series beginnings yet, but as it stands, I do really like this one, and I look forward to Nintendo trying out some more concepts with this Mini Mario idea. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. Alright, I guess they're fighting again. They don't even pretend like they have an original story at this point. A couple of still images with a slide transition pop into frame, and then you're in the game. Man, they really checked out on this one. That was gross. It's the same game again. Are you surprised? But now it looks better. Cool. I mean, I guess that does also mean that this is, once again, a good puzzle game, but all of the new Super Mario Bros. Games are also good platformers. It is still hard to convince someone to play every single one of them. However, with this game, Nintendo did experiment with cross-buy. The game is also available on the 3DS, and if you bought one version of it, you would also get the other. It was really cool back then seeing Nintendo give that a shot. People had been begging for some form of cross-buy at the time for a while, but why with Mario vs. Donkey Kong? Did anybody actually care? I guess there is the tipping stars mechanic now that is technically new. By downloading and playing other players' creations online, you would be able to tip them stars if you enjoyed them. That's it. Probably means now that for new players it is impossible to actually unlock everything since the game does use the stars to get the extras, but hey, who cares? It's Mario vs. Donkey Kong tipping stars for the Nintendo Wii U. The most interesting thing about this game is it is an example of a tech demo given a full release. It was originally developed as a showcase for the Nintendo Web Framework, a tool that allowed developers to create games for the Wii U using web-based code, like HTML5. Kinda neat, actually. Come on now, you have totally heard of the Nintendo Web Framework, right? It's responsible for some mega hits like tipping stars. Yeah, whatever, this game is just okay, even if it was a really good puzzle game, because it looks exactly the same as the other ones, no one cares. And you know what's also weird? Outside of America, Nintendo gave this game a physical release. In Europe, the cases only include a download code, not an actual disc, but in Japan, hey, look at that! An actual disc! Something tells me this will be a big collector's item in the future, but once again, who really cares? They have a really good concept for a puzzle game here, but they are completely failing to give you any reason to actually use your hard-earned money and buy them. So the perfect response is, what if it were free? Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge, and the Mario vs. Donkey Kong title is officially dead, and now I'm sad. How did the series go on for as long as it did? I am quite amazed by that. It started off so cool, man. You take the original arcade game and evolve it for modern platforms, and you add in some new lore like bringing Pauline back into the fold. They did a great job. DK94 is still to this day fantastic. The original Mario vs. Donkey Kong is really good as well. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, I did enjoy Mini Land Mayhem 2, but man, the name Mario vs. Donkey Kong really means nothing anymore. The toy stuff is cool, they're really cute, I will give them that, but there is such potential for a modern Mario platformer that's all about puzzle solving instead of just platforming. This series, as it initially was, really deserves another chance. Ooh, that's right, the minis did show up in Mario Kart, I guess, so all's been forgiven then. But like I said at the start of the video, Nintendo did try different delivery methods with these games, and I will give them credit, that is kinda neat. You got the big bait and switch with the arcade game remake, arguably the biggest game Nintendo made for their DSiWare service, even though that bar was incredibly low. This was the series they attempted cross-buy with, and now you have a game that is free to play as long as you have some amiibo. So, okay, fine, I do already have all of these amiibo. Was this final game in the series any good? So the way Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge works is there's this whole lineup of minis from the Mario franchise now, right? And by tapping the corresponding amiibo, you get to play as them and access their very own very tiny set of 4 stages. All of the stages that you unlock have unique themes, like Luigi's Mansion for his stages, as well as original gimmicks like bouncing eggs off of walls for Yoshi. The stages for Rosalina all have pull stars and it plays the observatory theme from Galaxy, and ooh, I love that. I love that so much. They took an idea that makes total sense for the character and made it work within the confines of the toy puzzle idea. That's pretty cool. If you're lacking some of the amiibo to fully complete the game, as long as you have any amiibo, you can still play some of the game, just as this little ability-less block dude though. He does nothing cool. Boo! You're really missing out on the majority of the game at that point. It did get released on 3DS as well, which is way more fitting for this type of game in my opinion, but there's just nothing tying this game together. It is just a small series of levels if you already have the amiibo. Like, I totally understand there was a lot of pressure on Nintendo to make games for amiibo that made it seem like if you bought the figure, it wouldn't be used for just one game, and I guess it is a bit better than that stupid amiibo tap game that they also did. Most of you probably blocked it out of your memory and it shows, but the amount of content that's here if you do have every amiibo is still so minimal, and what is here is probably the easiest set of levels the franchise has seen yet. So once again, it's just kinda whatever. Just make another DK94, I am begging you. So, considering Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge doesn't really have much of an ending, the true conclusion is in Tipping Stars. I'm about to get to the ending right now. It's the only one I haven't seen yet. Just gotta do one last puzzle here. Let's see, maybe the series actually has a fulfilling conclusion.
Oh? Eh? Thank you very much.
Oh,